Wolverine and Deadpool movie review. Right off the bat, I will say it was a very awesome movie, and you must go see it in theaters. Do not wait to stream it. Do not wait till it comes out on DVD. Get your ass to the theater and go see this movie. You will not regret it. It is hilarious. The action in it is outstanding. There's never a dull moment throughout the whole movie. The whole, 2 hours and 7 minutes, I think is what it is, will keep you entertained from start to finish. And it starts right off the bat with action. There is a hell of a lot of joking going on, a lot of wisecracking, probably a dozen different fight scenes, a lot of like fourth wall action as well, backstories, probably more spaghetti and spider webs, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to timeline shit. So you do have to pay attention a little bit, and you're probably actually going to have to watch this movie a dozen or so more times to catch all the different nostalgia that's thrown in there, all the plot, and basically everything within the movie itself, because you're trying to watch one thing and then there might be something in the background, or you might catch something later on that is relevant from earlier in the movie. So that you're going to have to watch this a bunch of times, but definitely go see it in the theaters or get your first viewing done already. The one thing I will say that I did not like about the movie, there was a couple points in the movie where there was just like too many jokes back to back. So he was just, Ryan Reynolds was just being Ryan Reynolds or slash Deadpool, and there was just like too much wisecrack, like bam, 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 like it was like a whole 2-page essay type of wisecracks without stopping. And there needed to be like a break or some more dialogue in between like all the wisecracking or joking around. I think it was like 2 to 5 times where I was just like, alright, that was way too long of a joke or wisecracking. It needed to be cut off a little bit, but it still made me laugh. Still really enjoyed it. It was definitely entertaining the whole time. I think everybody in the theater was. It was actually really packed for Johnstown as well. So everybody apparently wants to see it because, everybody likes Deadpool. I don't know how you do not like Deadpool. Definitely lived up to its R-rated rating. There is blood, guts, glory, swearing, sexual innuendos out the ass. Just expect, if you put Deadpool 1 and 2 together with the wisecracking and the sexual innuendos and all that kind of stuff, you put them two together, that's probably what you get from the third one combined. Now, I might say I like Deadpool 2 probably better than 3, at least first impression. I still think Deadpool 2 is the better of the movies, but maybe after I watch it a couple more times and get some of the things he was saying and the cameos and things in the background, I might like it more than 2, but right now I think 2 is still the better than 3. So the plot itself is kind of weird. Basically, Deadpool's timeline is going to cease to exist, and this guy, Paradox, plucks him out of his world to sort of fix it or save him or whatever. It's kind of, that was kind of confusing, what was really going on, because Logan died, slash Wolverine, whatever you want to call him, if you want to call him Logan or Wolverine, died, and it sort of made that ripple where the timeline was just going to cease to exist. And the guy wanted to save Deadpool himself, and there was really nothing he could do. But he hinted around if he could get Wolverine to fix it a little bit, there might be a shot. At least they hinted at that. So he had to find the right Wolverine to do the job as he went to different dimensions and tried to find the right one. And he did find one. It was actually what everybody was calling the worst Wolverine to choose from, I guess, because he wasn't really a hero per se. I guess his X-Men died by human hands while he was at a bar getting drunk, and then he just hunted down a bunch of humans and just killed a bunch of people. When he got home, found them all dead. So that's his little backstory from that dimension. So he's definitely, I guess, the worst Wolverine. At least that's what they keep calling him throughout the whole movie. He did wear the yellow costume, but they get sucked into what they call the void, basically where all the waste products go. That's where they wanted to throw Deadpool to begin with, was in this void, basically like the trash can of the dimensions, I guess is the best way to describe it. That's where most of the movie takes place. I would say 70%, 80% of the movie takes place in that. The other, like 10% is Deadpool in the beginning and like his dimension that he's living in, not necessarily the one that we're used to dimension, and then in the end, he's visiting that dimension again for the other like 10%. But right off the bat, like as the movie's rolling its opening credits, he fights, because this group is called like the TVA. They're like the time fixers. So if you screw around with the timelines too much, which Deadpool did, as you see in Deadpool 2, like how he, if you watch the end credits cutscenes or whatever, how he went back and killed some of his other versions and pissed the timeline to fix himself up with Vanessa and other things like that. So he really screwed his timeline up, and that's sort of why the timeline is also disappearing. But the TVA sort of fixes it or takes care of stuff like that. And Paradox is actually a bad guy, which you'll find out pretty quickly. But the first Wolverine Deadpool tries to dig up is the Logan version in Colorado. He makes you think that he's he's actually not dead, this one. But then he pulls him up. He's like, oh, I guess he is. And then his skeleton, you see a skeleton there with just a titanium or adamantium or whatever. Can't say that word. Anyway, that's all you really see is like all over his skeletal structure, and he fights like 30 the TVA agents in that first like 2 minutes of the movie, using Wolverine's body, like the different bones and stuff like that, just destroying them. So that started the movie off action-packed, and it gets you really excited before he gets into the little backstory where he's at. He's just trying to find his place in the world. He really can't seem to do it because he went and interviewed with Happy Hogan. I'm going to spoil some shit, obviously, with some of the cameos, but he interviewed with Happy Hogan to get in with the Avengers, and Happy basically told him no, and that sort of put Deadpool down that destructive path where he felt like worthless, and ended up being like a car salesman until his like birthday, which was all within like the first like 10 minutes of the movie. And at his birthday party, you see all the people from like X-Force, like Shadow Stars there, Peter, Vanessa, Blind Owl. So that was pretty cool to see all them. Even that one guy that he got in the fight with at the bar that he would always go to. So stuff like that. So basically he fucked around with the timeline and brought them all back to life, or saved them for the dimension he's living in. But him and Vanessa aren't together because he just doesn't want to take the next step and either be a hero or find his purpose in life. Does wear a toupee, which is kind of funny. But at that birthday party, that's when the TVA sucks him in and tries to explain their little plot, because they have a time ripper machine. It's gonna be able to like rip through different times and stuff like that the Paradox is trying to build. But he realizes Paradox is a bad guy, and he takes this thing and tries to find the right Wolverine and try to fix his timeline. Then when he brings the worst Wolverine back, the Paradox reveals that it doesn't really matter, and that's when they send him to the Void. Both of them. Then they end up having one of like the 3 fight scenes. I think it might have just been 2. They had the first of the 2 Wolverine versus Deadpool fight scenes, which is really awesome. Then you see your first real cameo appearance with Chris Evans. They sort of make you think he's going to be Captain America, but then they show you he's actually a Fantastic Four version, Chris Evans. So that's pretty cool. Then they take him to the woman, Cassie or whatever, that's Professor X's sister. She's like the real bad person, and she basically fingers his brain because that's how she gets into people's heads. But you really start to see, because the Void is the garbage of the world, so you start to see some of the nostalgia and Easter eggs in there. Some of the other cameos. But then, because they got captured, Wolverine, Deadpool, and Chris Evans all get captured by the lady. But they end up escaping, trying to find the other good guys in the area, and in the borderlands. There's supposedly a bunch of Deadpools, because they're a dime a dozen is the phrase that they used in the Void. So you expect to see a bunch of Deadpools at some point, but they only run into one right away, which is a very nice Deadpool with this ugly ass dog. Probably like, I guess it would be the world's ugliest dog. I think that's what they used in the movie, or one of those type of dogs. Because it was really ugly, and that was sort of the theme of it, I guess. But then he gives them a minivan, and when they're in the minivan, they have a fight because Deadpool reveals to Wolverine that he may not be able to fix Wolverine's past. And they have a really nice, huge fight. That's their second fight in the minivan and right outside of it. So that was very interesting and unique how they handled that. I really enjoyed that, and I think everybody really will once they see the movie. And then as they're laying there sleeping it off, because the movie will show you, you know how they do that, like little, not necessarily a montage, but like fast forward type thing that it lasted like at least a day or two of them fighting, because obviously they both can heal, so they just kept stabbing and punching each other for like over a 24-hour period of time. Well, somebody drives them in the minivan. You don't see it right away. This like other layer where the outliers, the other good guys are, and that's when you see Elektra, Blade, Gambit. So there's some more cameos, and then Mutant 23 as well. Then they sort of hatch a plan to go back and like kill Cassie, and get back to their Deadpool's dimension, and then like kill Paradox and I guess destroy the Void. But it was kind of interesting, I guess. Yeah, so when they come back from the Void, Cassie actually used like Doctor Strange's finger things to make a circle, and she came through as well because she wanted the time splitter for herself. And this is when you see like the hundreds of Deadpools come through as well. So there's all kinds of different varieties of Deadpools. There's like a Western, there's a baby, like a Japanese version, Mexican version, guy with like T-Rex arms, an alien, all, you know what I mean, you name it. There was all kinds of different Deadpools. So that was very interesting how they set that up. But the happy, nice Deadpool was on his side, but our Deadpool got him killed because they started shooting. He was using him as a shield and didn't realize that he couldn't rejuvenate, whereas the other ones could. So Wolverine and Deadpool go through all the 100 plus other Deadpools, thinking that they don't rejuvenate as well, but then after they're done, they end up standing up, getting them surrounding Wolverine. But that's also right before this scene starts, like with the fighting. That's when Wolverine actually pulls his hood up, and you actually see like the true X-Men version where he has like the ear things coming off his helmet. So that was awesome. But then Peter actually comes and saves the day, dressed as a Deadpool, and all the other Deadpools listen to him because they all have a Peter in their life. Then after they do, Peter saves them from fighting anymore, Wolverine and Deadpool go back into the TVA building and try to destroy the Time Ripper machine. The only way to do that is to basically kill themselves, because they have to make a connection underneath the machine. And originally it was only supposed to like take one. They each fooled each other into thinking they were going to be the person to sacrifice themselves, because it's like an atom ripper. So whoever did it wasn't going to make it. But Deadpool ended up being the one who first touched the machine and tried to make the connection, and he couldn't reach it. And you could see Wolverine smashing the door trying to get in. And then right as time's running out, Wolverine and Deadpool make a connection themselves to the two cords that they have to touch to destroy the machine. So then the machine blows up, and you think that they died, because that would be the way, the two actors don't have to do those rules anymore and sort of like kill the franchise. a couple minutes later, you realize, because they show them that they're both alive, they make amends. And Deadpool introduces him to his family that he saved. I guess it's the movie. There's a lot more to it, and I could go into more details. That's just a quick rundown. I know I spoiled some things, but they needed to be spoiled. It's really good. People need to see it. Again, I would maybe take a younger child unless they're used to language and all that sort of thing. But there's no reason that you shouldn't go see it in theaters right now and support not only movie theaters, but the people who made the movie, and just enjoy a nice night out watching the movie itself, because it's just so good and you won't be disappointed. The color scheme, though, I guess that would be the second thing that I didn't really like. It was a little bit confusing. Like, it just felt weird, some of the colors that they used just didn't feel right with me, but maybe that's just me.